Okay, welcome back then, legends. I've had another email. Here's the tablet I've got the email on from another security guard at a migrant camp in the UK, and I want to read you that now. I do get quite a few of these, and I have to kind of assess, which ones are worth reading out to you. This one's a pretty good one. I've actually assessed this guy as well. I've gone and had a look at him. He is legit. He's told me how to make it legit. Not the same guy as last time, though. So completely different dude, but this guy has obviously worked within this and knows a lot about these kind of things. I'm going to read you this email, all right? I'm not going to keep it too long, and I want to try and kind of give you a little bit of understanding as to why I think these things are happening in the UK, you know what I mean? It starts off then. The last government spent tens of millions of pounds on refurbishing the former RAF base at Scampton into an illegal migrant accommodation centre, only to have it shut down as soon as this Labour government took power. Now, remember, RAF Scampton was the home of the Royal Air Force aerobatics team, the Red Arrows, which obviously, and the Dam Busters, 617 Squadron. In fact, Guy Gibson, the boss of the Dam Busters, his dog Nigger was buried in the actual grounds of Scampton. I don't know whether they moved that grave. I know they renamed the dog. I think the Air Force renamed the dog. But, oh God, the PC stuff, you know what I mean? But it was a very special sight to many, many people. And I think it was such a damning indictment of the disrespect that our government has for the British population that it actually chose that particular site to change into a home for migrants. I can't get over the... Anyway, let's stop there. Let's carry on the email. Accommodation blocks and houses fit for military personnel only months before were now deemed unfit for these illegals. I find this incredible. It's almost as bad as giving all these hotel rooms to illegals, but then, you've got the veterans sleeping on the streets. I mean, don't get me rolled up, guys. You know what I mean? It's a Sunday afternoon. Don't get me angry about it, because I want to get through this email. The companies involved in this industry are making millions, not just hotels, but catering companies, transport companies, as well as security companies, Serco, et al., you know what I mean? All those kind of things. In my opinion, using these decommissioned military sites to house illegals is a brilliant use of space. However, they do need to be managed slightly differently. Now he goes on to explain what happens at these places. This is pretty crazy. Most of the illegals, in my experience, now they're not called illegals anymore, are they? They're called irregular migrants, I think, under the United Nations. So I'm going to call them illegal migrants or just migrants or immigrants. It doesn't matter. But I think they're now, just so we know, I think they are called irregular migrants, just so we're doing the PC term, guys. Don't want to get ourselves in trouble or nothing, do we? Right, at present, the illegals accommodated in hotels and at Wethersfield are allowed to come and go as they please. Oh, I missed a bit. Oh, yeah. So it's most illegals, in my experience, have no respect for our rules, social or legal. This is not limited to the young males. Interesting. We saw that in the last one, didn't we? And if you are interested in that last video, I'll put it up here for you so you can just go and check it out. At the very end of this video, I'll put that one up there. Have a check of that. That was a different dude, but at a different site as well, all right? At present, the illegals accommodating hotels at Wethersfield are allowed to come and go as they please. They can leave the site to visit family or friends that they may have in country for not more than 2 nights, he says here. Not more than 2 nights. If they disappear or fail to return, they are not reported missing for 7 days. But when they are reported, no one looks for them. They are just put on a register. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Most security officers at the hotels know when one of the illegals is working. It really doesn't take long to see patterns of behaviour, and when challenged, they rarely deny they are working. Reports are made to the Home Office because they shouldn't be working, because I think they're seeking asylum. I think that's the thing. So basically, say they rarely deny they're working. Reports are made to the Home Office, who do little or more usually they do nothing, it says here. Do little research on the Potters International and Aldershot. I think around 10 illegals were found to be working in a local car wash for cash. So I'm going to put that there, this news story from GB News. I'll just flash it up on the screen right now for you. I did that research and I found that. And also, as I grab some tea, I'm not against these migrants, these immigrants working. I don't blame them for doing so, if you know what I mean. I blame the policy of the government of allowing these people to come in. And then everything else, I don't blame these people. If you think about it, I met Iraqis when I was out in Iraq. I thought they were lovely people. If you tell people that your way of life is better, they will come and seek out that way of life. It's the government that we've got issues with. Not the migrants. Some migrants. Yeah, and I'm about to talk about those migrants right now. But the government. The government is the one that's damaging your welfare. The government is the one that's not looking after the British people. In fact, the government is one that's treating you worse than bringing in these migrants. It's because it's looking at you as a globalist sort of token. You're just one of many. You have no more right to be in the country as a British citizen than one of these illegal migrants have. That's how this utopia thing works. All right, you're just the same. You just happen to be born in Britain, but it's going to be a global utopia with this crazy government that's going to run us all. I mean, it's mad, right? But anyway, right, before I go a bit crazy, let's have a look then. Anyway, they were working for cash. Wethersfield was supposed to accommodate close to 2,000 illegals. They spent millions of pounds on the accommodation blocks, as well as building more accommodation out of porta cabins. Most of the hotels hold 2 to 3 males. They also have access to a gym and social space on site. There is a welfare centre where they can demand almost anything they want. There is an on-site bus service, 3 18-seater minibuses that run almost every hour during the day to 3 major towns in Essex. I don't know this that well. There is also a canteen on site that provides them with 3 cooked meals a day. I mean, when you think about people on the street, this is what upsets me a little bit. They don't get the opportunity to have this, do they? And you get these irregular migrants that do have this. I find it incredible. They're also given everything else they need to survive. So soap, razor, shampoo, internet, SIM cards, but they're not given phones apparently. There is a medical centre on site that operates 5 days a week for 8 hours a day and a police officer dedicated to the site. The illegals are given medical checks when they arrive. Many are found to have some sort of medical issue, such as tuberculosis, HIV or scabies. So we're bringing these in, as well as diseases probably that we haven't seen in a while in the UK. Now, in a way, people are saying, how come these people are getting healthcare before I'm getting healthcare? Well, it's kind of important that they do, because if there are women, they might arrive here pregnant and they need that healthcare, of course. But also, when people have things like this, you have to attack it quickly. You cannot let these kind of diseases get out into the population. It's not right that we should be suffering from these kind of diseases. But they have them, so they're seen. And of course, who's picking up the bill for that? You know it. Yeah, it's your money, big guy. You're paying this, aren't you? You are paying it. You're paying for these people who shouldn't be here anyway, and you're paying for that. So it's ridiculous. Right. As the site was being populated, there was little trouble. The security operated as individuals with no safety equipment like radios or stab vests or hard hats, although there were a few small incidences where the security officers were threatened. Later, as the illegal population grew, so did the problems. Fights ensued between certain demographics. Conflicts from overseas were brought to site. Iraqis against Iranians, Pakistanis against Afghanis, Eritreans against everyone else apparently. Reports of illegals carrying knives increased, easily purchased when off-site, as they are not searched on entry to the site. That's strange. There's been large-scale fights on a number of occasions where 25 to 30, up to several hundred illegals have been involved, with cricket bats being used. That was supplied by the Home Office, but not for that purpose. With the police, PSU, it's like a public disorder unit, I can't remember what the S stands for, being deployed, and at least one illegal being quite severely injured. As a result, stab vests, hard hats, body-worn cameras, and radios were introduced, as well as security officers operating in pairs. Now, just before I carry on this is what's happening to the country, isn't it, if you think about it? So the more, it's a degenerate society going downhill, isn't it? The more these sorts of things happen, the more armed police we're going to have. The more, obviously, stop and searches we're going to have. The more fences are going to go up. The more security, the enclaves. I get written to people from South Africa saying, welcome to our world, mate. This is exactly what's going to happen. And they're not wrong, are they? I keep thinking, are they wrong? They're not wrong. It's exactly what happened. It's happening to us now. It's welcome to the new Great Britain, isn't it, really? Because it's a microcosm. These places are just a microcosm of what's going to happen. If you take something happening, say, in London, it's going to be, op scatter, where they start going, right, we don't want to put everyone in these same towns and cities. We've got to put them out all over the place. So your local village, or my local village, is soon going to become home to these people who don't live with the same values and standards that we live. Look, 10 minutes. Let's get this done. Let's get it done. Right, the medical centre, welfare centre and canteen each had a dedicated security officer posted during opening hours, as the female staff had been threatened on a number of occasions. As had the female welfare staff and catering staff in canteen. There was that young lady killed, wasn't there, up north at one of these, stabbed. Oh, incredible. The canteen was destroyed in protest over some minor grievance, as were the minibuses. I've never understood that. You smash up your own area, and then you sit around looking up this area you smashed up that you've now got to live in. I suppose your tax dollar, my tax dollar, we'll talk about that in a second, is going to pay for this, isn't it? Which it always does. Tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds in damage, all paid for by taxes. As a result, in these issues, the planned 2,000 illegals were kept at 6 or 700, about 6 or 700. Now, there's a bit more than email. Nothing, it's just talking a little bit about stuff, but that's fine. Look, I've made a few notes on here, and I don't need to really read them out, but the main thing I was going to talk about is how we do see some backpedaling on this kind of stuff. We see Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook cancelling the diversity policies there. We see BlackRock moving away from the net zero and the environmental social governance agendas that they seem to be pushing under Larry Fink, is it? They're sort of moving away from that, and we all know these are weak men doing this because there's a very strong man about to come in to the presidency in America, of course, and that's President Trump, isn't it? He's going to come in and smash these people against the wall because it's costing us jobs. It's costing us an increased economy. It's costing us value. It's costing us a better way of life. Because what we're doing is we're allowing people who don't deserve it. Was it? Didn't earn it? DEI didn't earn it? We're putting people in these positions who are incompetent or is not as competent, by that definition is incompetent, as the person who should be in it. We're not a meritocracy anymore, are we? We're just, we're almost like, it's about equity, isn't it? It bloody annoys me, it really does. We saw it first in the Air Force and we slapped them around. So if you remember that 1% of earners in the UK pay 40% of tax. So the top 1% pay 40% of tax. The next 10% are paying 76% of all tax. Now, in 2024, 10,000 millionaires left the UK, and since 2020, 20,000 millionaires have left the UK. Now, is that millionaire in assets? I don't know. Is that? I don't know. I'm just saying that's the fact. Now, borrowing in the UK, i.e. the amount of money that the government borrows, is at about 4.83%. Let's not get typical. I'm not a technical dude. I'm keeping it simple. So it's at about 4.8%, but GDP is contracted about 0.1. So the gross domestic product, so the amount, like, about how well the country's doing, the GDP, how much we're all earning, that kind of stuff, you know, it's gone down by about 0.1. All right, I think it's something like, I can't remember how many trillions it is. What is it? Something ridiculous like, I wrote the figure down, 2.5 trillion pounds. Means nothing to you, means nothing to me either. Don't worry about it, all right? Either way, our debt to GDP ratio is about 100%. Now, Japan's 260%. So the only way you're going to get that down, if you want people to invest in the country, is, stay with me, is lowering that debt or increasing GDP. We can't lower the debt. What are we doing? Increasing GDP. How are we doing that? We're flooding the country with foreigners. You used to talk about foreigners all the time. We never use that term anymore, do we? Foreign people from overseas, people that don't have our values, people like, I expect Kemi Badenoch and Rishi Sunak, and I've spoken about them before. People that just do not, I mean, you know, and I say that, both British, as in they were born here, but let's be honest, where's Rishi now? He's in California, trying to run away from those fires, probably. Where's Kemi right now? Well, she's the leader of the Conservative Party, but for her childhood, she was in northern Nigeria, and she was in America. All right, and she sees herself as a Nigerian as opposed to a British person. I just think, you know, how much of these people actually got now, you know, as in faith in the British people. I was driving over a bridge the other day, over the M5. I'll finish this now. I just want to point this out to you. I'll put an AI generated picture up here, guys, of a young man. He was young. He must have been in his mid-20s. This man had black trousers on, like a sort of dark jacket. He had a pole in his right hand, and on that pole was the St. George's flag. A big flag. Like the flag would have been bigger than him if he'd put it on the ground. But he was holding it, and he was looking out over a bridge on the motorway, looking out at the M5, holding this flag. I'll put the picture up now. Why have I got a cup of tea in the car? Because I don't want to annoy the wife by being in the house and talking to you guys, you know what I mean? And he had this pole, and I drove past him. I should have beeped the horn, but, you know, look, my wife's in the car. I don't want to be that guy, you know what I'm saying? But I just thought, yeah, right on, mate. Yeah, right on. We should be doing more of this. What else you got to stand up for? In my gym, there, in front of me there, I've got the flag of the Union, I've got the St. George's flag, and I've got Richard the Lionheart flag as well. So I've got that flag up there as well. I've got these flags. He wasn't waving this flag. He wasn't going, hey! He was just standing there, facing traffic with a flag. Sign of defiance. Absolutely loved it, all right? Is it going to solve things? Probably not. Are we still going to push for this utopia where everyone is equal, this equity thing that can never happen? Probably. And have I given you any advice in this video? Absolutely not, no. What value have you got out of this video? I'm sorry, you know, not every video is going to give you value. I will leave you with this thing. You know, I talked about it before. Personal values and standards. Personal values and standards. What this channel is about, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's all it is, really. So we can solve this if we look after our own communities, which is either your family unit, or start with the self, all right? Family unit, then we'll start with the local community, and as long as we've got these things sorted out, then we're going to find that things are a lot less damaging than our government probably wants them to be. I think we're on the road down. You know, it's not a feel-good video. I'm sorry, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I get some great advice from those comments. And also, if you want me to look at anything, either email me, tim@fastshipperformance.com. I can't answer everything. I've got a little PA, Katie, who gives me the stuff. Or write in the comments, Tim, check this out. Maybe this is a good video. All right, so we can see if we can socialise this a little bit more, these things. All right, look, I appreciate your time. Let's not waste it anymore. All right, Tim Davies, Fast Ship Performance.